Any good, inspiring ideas? You know what I was thinking? Like maybe we need to have white dresses for one of our scenes. You know how we talked about like wardrobe and branding and stuff like that? What do you think for our guests, even? Do we incorporate white with our guests? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
But are you even listening to me? I want to just get clear on details for the podcast scenes, you know?
Okay, Laura, what? What?
Okay, did you hear what I said?
Yeah, sure, but I'm just creating right now for our project, so I need to do this.
Okay, but like there's ideas I have flowing. I want to like get them out with you.
Okay, how about you take on your questions? I'm gonna just step away for a bit and create the rest of the scenes for the episode.
You basically need me to leave you alone right now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, Nisha, do you know what my first memory of you is? Is that we traveled together.
We did on a plane.
We met
On a jet plane.
Do we remember those days when we get to travel on a
It
plane?
was
When we would sit this far from each other on an airplane.
Yeah, and there was no question about it.
that's a distant memory now. But I'm very glad. I'm very, very glad that we met in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
while we were embarking on a journey together in this 1-year program that we both committed to. And you were wearing this red blouse and you were just so easy breezy. Like I just remember this like cool attitude that you had, and you were like, I feel like I should have been wearing power pumps or something. You said like you made a comment about your heels.
You remember the blouse I was wearing.
I remember.
I think we're in love.
You know what? Yeah, I have like a photographic memory like that. But you did have this very beautiful presence about you. And so we were both new to the program. And I think that was like a connection for us right off the bat. And then of course, our plane ride home, we got to know each other more. So from there, we decided every other conference that we were attending for this course that we were going to be travel buddies, and that did stay true. So that's how we met, and I love that story.
Love it.
It's a good story.
I vividly remember as well, you know, obviously doing the same course, all three of us, when you came into the program in my third quarter. And I just remember you just had such an angelic presence. Like you were really calm, cool, and collected. And it was so welcoming anytime that, you know, we got to sit beside each other, or, you know, the team meeting was a little ruffled and, you know, maybe there's some tension in the room. I was like, you would go up and just share. And I was like, I would listen to you. I was like, just like a breath, you know, that was just released. And I was like, okay, I like this lady.
Yeah.
That's so kind.
Yeah. And it's been so great to get to know you now. It's been over a year, and see such like development in what you do in your work and just even who you are. You've like just come out and blossomed like a beautiful flower. So I love seeing this growth that we've gotten to know each other through this time.
Thank you so much for saying that. I feel the same way about both of you in different ways. So I feel the same way, Antonietta. I remember meeting you. I remember the first time we had a conversation, and I remember what a powerhouse you were for me. Just like this massive powerhouse, and just to watch your journey has been a joy for me. And same with you, Laura. Like I felt very connected to you from the get-go, from the moment that we sat together in that plane and got to know each other that first weekend. And I haven't stopped feeling connected to you. So
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah.
And fun fact about Nisha, she's a master meditator.
Oh, yes. Oh, she can grab a whole community of 100 plus people and just get them to like calm that F down.
It's beautiful. Master.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Well, today, I mean, we're talking about a really cool topic today, and I want you to, you know, introduce yourself and a little bit about you, what you do, and how you've come to know and love this topic, and then we'll just get right into the juice of it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little introduction about me to start. So I'm actually a realtor and a naturopathic doctor, and my commitment is that people get connected to themselves and their bodies, so they can create what they need in order to thrive, whether that be health in their mind and their bodies, or wealth and abundance, a place to live, or simply peace of mind. Human design, how I came to learn human design. Well, first of all, human design, just getting right into it, is a mix of systems. So it's a mix between the Kabbalah, the I Ching, and the astrology system. And it's this beautiful system that I discovered about 3 years ago. So before I dive into that story, what human design has allowed me to do as a mom is it's really given me a map, like, so of my child, like the benefits. So right now that I'm so present to right now is I have a map of my daughter. So I know what she is like, what her energy is like, what her gifts are in this world, without some personality test, without some professional coming in to tell me what my daughter is like, without our moods, right? I get to know what she is like and how to best support her because of the time of birth, right? And her date and where she was born. So I first learned about human design 3 years ago. And I remember being at, with Farah and Elizabeth at the time, somebody that we all know. And we were at Collingwood and we were sitting on the couch. It was winter time. It's freezing outside. There was snow on the ground. And Farah asked me, she said, do you want a reading? And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, like I'm into that stuff. I love all those sorts of things. So I was like, yeah, give me a reading. I had never heard of human design before. And when she gave me a reading, it literally changed my whole world. Like everything changed. I had like in that space of time, I realized why every relationship I'd ever gotten into was always initiated by the guy, was never initiated by me.
Oh, this is
and I understood why that was. I understood why it was difficult for me to speak in like a group of people, but when I speak one-on-one with people, it was much easier for me. And on top of that, I understood why and how I could pick up people's thoughts and their emotions, like why that's easy and why that happens to me. Like, how is it that I can feel people's feelings and pick up their thoughts? And I understood why that is in that reading.
Ooh, interesting.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
much to be given as like information.
It also helped me understand how to best get connected to my decision making, like what's right for me. Like, you know, we hear a lot, there's a lot of gurus out there, there's a lot of people out there that tell you how to succeed. A lot of people, of course, we want to succeed, we want to live our best life, right? So there's a lot of people that give a lot of advice. So I can think of Nike's tagline, just do it, you know, create it, go out there, make it happen. Wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, which I think the three of us do actually. Yep. Wake up at 5 a.m.
most of the time.
Right. But there's a lot of messaging, and the messaging doesn't always necessarily apply to us. It's not always authentic to who we are and how we're designed. And what was really valuable for me when I learned about human design is that I got connected to what is authentic to me and what is that decision-making strategy that's going to support me for my own unique self.
Okay.
Very cool.
Cool. I love that. Yeah, it does. I love that overview, and I love like knowing a little bit about you and how you realized in your life it started to make a difference when you understood it. But I still I really want to understand exactly what it is. Like I don't know if I'm clear on that, and I kind of just want like more of
maybe an example.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you about, so I told you that it's made up of three big systems, even between 3 and 5 big systems, right? So it's based upon your time and date of birth. There's 5 different types in human design. So I'll tell you what those are, and I'll give them to you in the context of, let's say, Egypt. Okay. So if you think back to the times of Egypt, when there was somebody there, a pharaoh typically, or somebody who said, okay, we're going to put a pyramid. This is how it was explained to me. So I'm going to explain it to you the same way. Okay. We're going to put a pyramid here. You know, we're going to put a canal here. We're going to do X, Y, Z. So the pharaoh would kind of declare this is what's going to happen, and things would start to move. People would start to get up and make those things happen. So you can think of that person who initiated the creation of those sorts of structures like the pyramids or canals or whatever as a manifester. Okay, like a typical manifester.
Okay. Pictures
Yeah.
coming along. Pictures
Yeah.
coming
Okay.
along.
Okay. And then you can think of the hordes of people that it would have taken to get those boulders up the mountain and create those pyramids, right? Like it would take a lot of energy and a lot of man work, like, or woman work or work to get those boulders and those rocks up. Those are the generators, the people who have the energy to do that. They just have this,
Like the workhorses.
they call it a motor.
The workhorses.
Yeah, they have that energy. They need to
Release that energy.
Yeah.
exactly. They have it. They need to release it. It works for them to work, to like get that energy out and to move those boulders. So those would be the generators, and that makes up about 70% of the population. So manifestors make up about 8% of the population. So those are two types. And then you have the projectors, and the projectors were the guides. So they were sort of the seers, the guides who would say, okay, well, you know, Rodney is the one who's going to help us, you know, manage that team. I'm just making up a name, Rodney, but you know,
we're cool.
You know, this person is going to be best suited here. That person's going to be best suited there. You should do it when the sun is in this spot and when the winter, you know, whatever they saw the energy, they sort of knew how to maneuver energy. They just saw like the energy of it all.
And those are projectors, right?
Those were projectors.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's about 20% of the population, typically.
I see those as directors. Would that be a relevant term?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So
right?
Director.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And today you could think of them as like the administrators, the directors, people who literally like direct where people should go, what people need to do.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
Literally. And then you have, pardon?
I said I'm starting to find myself here.
Same.
I love this story. Keep telling us more.
It's interesting. So interesting.
Then you have the reflectors. So the fourth type is the reflectors. And the reflectors, there's only 1% of the population. And these people who are reflectors typically have no energy centers defined. And I'll share with you what that is, but they literally are a reflection of the health of the population. So if you were to meet a reflector and they were hanging out with a group of people or in a community or collective or a tribe that were healthy, they would be healthy. And if they were hanging out with a group of people that were not healthy, they would not be healthy. So they're literally a reflection of the people that they spend their time with. And those are the reflectors, and they're 1% of the population. They're affected mostly by the planets and by the moon.
All right, so just to recap, we have the projectors, the generators, manifestors,
reflectors,
and reflectors. Okay.
And there's a final type, and that's the manifesting generators. So they're sort of a mix between, they have the manifesting capability, but they also have that energy, that work ability. So they're the manifesting generators. And so if you say generators are about 70% of the population, manifesting generators about 35%, and generators are about 35%, about half and half.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Interesting.
So let's talk about you.
Us? Yeah. Are you able to go through our individual designs right now here on the spot?
Yeah, actually, I pulled up.
I want to know what I am right now.
Let's discover who we are. Can we do that with you, Nisha?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can totally do that. So I did pull up your charts and I took a look at what you guys are. And it's very, very interesting. So do you want to guess? Anthony, you want to take a guess at what you might be or like what resonates with you?
I mean, I want to be a manifester.
I feel like I'm a projector. she's not sharing yet. She's like, interesting.
Okay. So I'll do Antonietta first. Antonietta, you are a manifester. So you're an emotional manifester. And what that means, so the benefit of knowing your type is really comes down to knowing your strategy and authority, your strategy for how you move through life and your authority for how you make decisions. So when it comes to being a manifester, your strategy for moving through life is to initiate. Like you literally were probably that child that wanted to do a whole bunch of things, but then was reprimanded for not doing those things and like asking permission.
Oh my God, that's so
Is that true?
Guys, this is quite deep, to be honest.
Were you not expecting this? Is that true about you?
Yeah,
Like, what are you just thinking?
You know, that exact scenario is very true. I was a very spontaneous young girl, and I was a very curious girl in regards to like a lot of things. But for sure, I could see there was moments where I was reprimanded, and just I think that took me back a bit and through, you know, maybe the adolescent years. So that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you have this ability to just initiate. You are the true like initiator, manifester. There's only 8% of the population like you. And as children, typically the parents, you know, don't know that. They want to control their children. They don't want them to get into trouble, so they reprimand them. And then manifestors sometimes back up and start asking for permission for everything they do. But really, you're here to initiate. You're here to initiate what you want to create in the world. And you're here to sort of soften the blow and the anger that might sort of start to come up. Because what happens is typically manifestors will have anger that comes up when they need to ask permission or they feel like they can't do something.
Bingo! Wow, that is very, very true.
So funny.
I'll just share you know, I see that really relevant in the, you know, current times of the world. As much as, you know, I want to be a, you know, responsible and considerate citizen, there's just a lot of things that really go against my authentic truth of taking that initiation of what I truly believe. So yeah, that's totally relevant right now.
You're here to initiate.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Well, can you manifest this shit to be over?
All right.
Right.
I'm not asking for any permission, people. Watch out now.
Yeah.
Just coming out.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Very
the
cool.
crux of that is you need to also inform. So as you inform people and let people know what you're up to, it softens the resistance that you get. So you might get people like asking you questions about what you're doing, or, you know, like maybe trying to stop you, and that brings up anger. So in order to mitigate that, your strategy is to initiate and to inform. Let people know what you're up to.
Okay.
The relevant people, right?
Okay. I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that on. Thank
That's your
you.
tip. You're welcome.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was so great.
Yeah, I'm so excited for mine now.
All right, Laura, you're up.
All right, Miss Laura, you are a emotional projector.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, I know I'm emotional. That's for sure.
Yeah. So as an emotional, somebody who has their solar plexus or their emotional center defined, there's always a high and a low that you're riding. Like you're always riding some sort of a wave.
So spot on. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And what's interesting is it's when that wave, in that sort of, there are times when that wave, you'll find the neutrality in that wave. It doesn't last for very long. But in that neutrality is when you make your decision. Okay. And with a projector, your strategy and your authority. So your strategy is to wait to be recognized and invited. Typically with projectors, there is this, your aura is more penetrating. So when you're with one-on-one, your aura penetrates the other. So you have sort of a deeper insight into what the other's feeling, thinking, who they are, where they're going. And there's this, your strategy is to wait to be recognized and invited. So you might notice that if in your life, potentially, you know, you might have tried to do things or tried to initiate relationships or conversations or projects that didn't go anywhere, because you're not here to initiate. You're here to be recognized for who you are, the gifts that you bring, and then to be invited in. And then once you are recognized and invited, then you have all the energy available to do it.
You know where I'm seeing this right now, like what's coming up for me right now as you describe this is, you know, when I first got into real estate, there were all these strategies and tactics that were being told to me that I had to do or complete in order to be a successful agent, and none of them resonated with me because they all had to do with like knocking on doors or making calls, and I was like, it's not going to go that way for me. And so I really get it. It's like, now the way I work is truly in the referral field and with people that I know who come to me when they are ready to buy or sell. And it's pretty amazing that that's like, that I was able to develop that without even knowing. Like, that does really resonate. What you're saying is like, I come up with other ways to bring value to then have people step into whatever
Totally.
you want to step
They
into.
recognize you. They recognize that you're an
That's really
authority, that you're a
cool.
leader in your field, and then they come and seek you out. You don't have to go get them.
Mm.
You naturally have that aura and that energy that when you're operating correctly and you're just happy, when you're like good, then you draw people in.
Yeah,
You don't have to go and get it.
that's cool.
So cool.
That's
Isn't that cool?
yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And then, so what is it about the projector part? Sorry, you said something about me penetrating the energies. Can you just go into that a little bit more?
Yeah. So that's your aura. So you know how we all have an aura. It's sort of this field that sort of, extends out, this invisible field, this energy field that extends out about 3 feet from our body, right? You've heard of auras.
Yeah.
So we all have, as different energy types, like projectors, generators, manifestors, etc. We all have an aura. And of course, our aura is individual and unique to us. I mean, to say that there's only 5 different types of aura would be, it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
But in general, as a projector, your aura tends to be penetrating. So when you're with somebody, you can get a really good grasp on where they're going in life, what their fears are, what they're thinking. You sort of have this ability to really, I want to say, taste their, or like get a real good sense of who somebody is.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling like me and you have that with each other so much, right? Like I feel like there's there's like a oneness in how we are, especially in creating this project that we're fulfilling on right now together. It's like I get that we have that with each other, so that's really cool to know that it's literally just natural to who we are,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Amazing.
With your aura, Antonietta, or with a manifestor, let's say, not just yours, but with the manifestor, typically their aura, it's said to be like repelling. So you might notice it's not good or bad. It's just what it is. Right?
Okay, cool.
So
I'm
you might notice that. Pardon?
I'm like, she doesn't repel me.
No.
But you might notice with some of your generator friends, I'm not a generator either, but with some of your generator friends, they might get a hug, whereas like somebody might be like, oh, hi, nice to see you again. You might get a handshake. There might be a little more like, oh, standoffishness towards you.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense for sure. I definitely notice, I've taken note of that. I think throughout my whole life that there's definitely a very apparent group of people that are really like standoffish with me, but then there's just very slight individuals that can feel like welcome to just step in right away.
Yeah.
But the majority, like I really get that through my whole life, is like a big group that is like cautious and careful.
Okay.
But you don't need to be.
Yeah, and it's just your aura. It's just like the aura. It's almost like a protective mechanism, but in some ways, but it is like this. It's your energy. It's not personal to you. It's just your own particular energy.
Yeah.
And then there's certain people that probably recognize you, right, for the mirror and twin that you are.
Oh
yeah.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Interesting.
So then there's also your authority. So both of you, interestingly, are emotional authority. So just like Laura has this highs and lows, like the ups and downs of the emotions, and it's inside of those emotions that she finds her truth and is able to make decisions. You have the same thing, Antonietta, like you're an emotional manifester. So you have these ups and downs, these emotions, and inside there somewhere is your truth, is your access to your best decision-making, like your decision, your choice.
Okay, so then we can be a bit of a both of 2 different types of the human design models. Is that what you're saying? Like, so you can be a bit of both of 2 different ones?
Well, you're an emotion. So one's your strategy, one's your authority. So you are an emotional manifester, and Laura is an emotional projector.
Okay, got it.
So I went even deeper. I mean, this goes really deep. This is just like so surface, right? I went a little bit, I read your guys' charts, and it goes a little bit deeper. So Antonietta, you have this like 2-4, which they call this hermit/opportunistic.
Okay.
Opportunist.
Yes. Yes.
So
I recognize this.
Sorry, and then did you say hermit?
Yeah, hermit/opportunist.
So yeah, just give a quick little description on this if you have the time for, but I definitely recognize this. And I
Okay,
think this
so
would be
just
valuable to my dear friend here.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I don't see this hermit.
Yeah.
yeah, so there is an aspect of Antonietta that requires being alone and home in order
Yeah.
to really like process everything that's happening or happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your energy has your people like call you out. So it's kind of like you're at home and you're like happy as pie doing your thing, and then you're like, okay, where's the party? You have this
Oh, okay, yeah,
opportunist part of
that does
you.
make sense. That does make
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely. I've known this about myself for some time. I definitely do value and appreciate, and it is so necessary for me to take, if it's days or even like certain days in the week, like I need to have my space, and that just has me be in my like creative and my juices, like all of that. But it's so necessary, and like I just don't need people around me all the time, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm completely okay. It's not even like an emotional downfall or anything like that, but it's just like I value such of that alone, quiet time to be in all of who I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a like a requirement for me.
Yeah.
So I do know that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm very vibrant to know, okay, where's the party?
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, absolutely. I can see that too.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
She bursts out into like crazy party mode sometimes.
Mrs.
I
Never
know.
comes out.
Like suddenly we're just calm, and then she'll be like, "Bah!" Like legit. I'm not kidding. This is a real example right now.
Yeah, that's the sound.
It's legit. Oh,
So
okay, cool.
fun, so cool. Yeah, so Nisha, this has been so great that you've shared all of this, in-depth knowledge. I'm sure there's so much more to explore. I
Yeah.
can't wait to like even read up more on it and
Mm-hmm.
really step into that way of functioning with like the consciousness of it, not just like by default or, oh, okay. But I think
And
that's so valuable.
yeah, it's good what you're saying. Like you want to even think about now consciously stepping into it. And where my mind goes is like, I know I gave this example of where I noticed it in business. So like, are there other areas of life where you can share with people like to be conscious of this?
Yeah. So I
And just
shared
even
one.
give a few examples if you could just.
Yeah, I shared in the beginning. It's really helped me with my daughter, right?
Yeah.
So with your children, just like knowing how they operate, rather than we know that people are individual, unique human beings, and it's hard to always gauge like, we're always taking personality tests or like trying to gauge, like put people in categories. But this is really one of those things that is based on your time of birth. There's no changing it. It's not based on somebody's subjective experience of you or some doctor. So it really has helped me with my daughter. Even in relationships, like knowing, when you know that somebody is a generator and you know that they need to respond to something, then you can go ahead and you can ask them yes and no questions. So say you want to go out for dinner, right? And you have two people and we kind of hear this scenario, like, where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Right. And a generator, when they say, where do you want to go for dinner? They're not given options or just given like, where do you want to go? Come up with it. A manifestor can be like, yeah, I want to go here. Like, I want Chinese food. We're going for Chinese or whatever. Right.
Right.
But a generator, typically as a generator and typically inside of their design, would better respond to a yes and no question. So if you said something like, hey, do you feel like Italian tonight? They can listen to their gut or listen to their decision-making strategy. And they can say, I do. Yeah, that sounds really good. Or they can know that, no, I don't. And oftentimes what's interesting is you might have a generator that says, hey, you want to go try this new restaurant down the road? The person might be like, I don't, do you want to try the restaurant down the road? And once they're asked that yes or no question, the generator can then be like, no, I don't actually. They just thought they might because it's a new restaurant. They should want to try that restaurant down the road because it's a new restaurant. They might like that food or they feel like they should, but they actually don't want to. But they won't access, they're better able to access that information when delivered a yes or no question. So they might say to you, do you want to go try that restaurant down the road? And then you knowing their type and their authority and their strategy might be like, would you like to try that restaurant down the road? And then they can be like, yeah, I do. Or no, I don't actually. I asked you, but I don't actually want to do that. And, you know, typically what happens is they might say, this is a very simple example, but you can see how it applies in so many different situations, is they might say, do you want to try that restaurant down the road? And you think that because they asked you, they do want to try it. So you're like, yeah, let's go. And then they're like, then you all both go to this restaurant, but nobody really wanted to go to begin with.
Got it.
No?
It's hilarious. You know what I'm getting from this too that I want to take away big time is like sharing this with the people in my life that I have relationships with, like my parents.
Yeah,
big time. I want them to get this about each other. It's cool. I mean, mom, dad, you're gonna have to listen and watch. So
yeah, this is like intro.
yeah,
but this is so great. I'm so glad that we are speaking about this conversation, Nisha. I see how it could be so valuable, especially even, you know, in this uncertain kind of very isolated time. You can really get to know like the people that you are interacting with, with the intensity that might be going on. It's like, okay, well, let's get to know our human design with each other so that we can operate a little more smoothly with these uncertain times of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm really also getting present to how valuable this could be with, you know, doing this as an exercise with a new romantic partner.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Hey, let's make this road or this journey of discovering each other a little bit easier by, you know what my human design is and I know what yours, so we can operate in sync, as opposed to, oh, this doesn't work. But it's just, you know, hey, we do understand each other from you know, this perspective.
Totally.
So let's bring that to the dating world.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it.
Thank you so much, Nisha.
Yeah, thank you guys.
A little scoop on how people could reach you, or, you know, if there's anything you offer that you want to go ahead and share.
Yeah, sure. Well, I do want to say if people do want to access their own human design chart, they can for free at jovianarchive.com, which is where I first started accessing my chart. And then if people want to reach me specifically, they can go to my website, which is just nishajkumar.com.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your energy.
Yes.
Of course, as always, so lovely to be with you again.
Yes, this has been a slice and so informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.